I salute in the strongest possible terms Dan Crenshaw's service to the country and what he gave. He left one of his eyes behind. I mean, that's not a small sacrifice. And I mean that. And this is not personal. Every time I met him in person, he's been a gentleman to me. But Dan Crenshaw, as a politician, where he is representing the people, he's not my congressman, but he's still representing people of the United States who deal with me and deal with my show, has been one of the most colossal disappointments I have ever seen. I mean, the man is unquestionably a brave guy, but I can't understand why every time it comes to standing on some kind of a principle, he always folds and backs up the establishment. And not only does he fold, and I'm not talking about the establishment, some kind of buzzy talk term. Sometimes establishment people make the right decisions. Sometimes they don't. The point with Crenshaw is I don't think Crenshaw is telling the whole story about why he's so mad at the 20 members of Congress that forced the concessions I just mentioned in the speaker race. Crenshaw is acting like this is all principle on his end, which doesn't seem to be the case. Here's what I mean. Here's what this is about. Conservatives are furious after this appearance. He was on, I believe it was Guy Benson's radio show. Guy Benson's over at Fox. And he's being interviewed. And he's talking about these members of Congress who want a different choice other than McCarthy, or at a minimum want concessions before they give their vote to McCarthy, which is working, by the way. Here's what Crenshaw called them in this interview. Check this out.
Congressman Dan Crenshaw of Texas, a surrogate for Kevin McCarthy, did. In fact, he did what neocons always do. He labeled anyone who doesn't like a terrorist. Watch.
Those of us are saying, like, look, you pushed us into this corner, so now we're saying we won't vote for anyone but McCarthy. That's why we're saying it, because we cannot let the terrorists win.
Again, out of respect for the man's military service, I'm withholding where I really want to go with this. We can't let the terrorists win. Terrorists, in other words, people who kill or maim or attack people in the interest of advancing a political goal. These are conservatives. You may not like their tactics, but you know what? They don't like yours either. Your guy doesn't have the votes either. So every argument you use against them, they could use against you. I wouldn't dare call a guy who had served this country and lost an eyeball a terrorist for doing what he's doing. Yet what he's calling terrorists, they're using the exact same tactics you could blame on them. They're terrorists. Why? Because they're nominating a guy, Byron Donalds, who doesn't have the votes. You're nominating a guy who doesn't have the votes. And he's not even close. He's not one vote shy, Dan, Congressman. He's 20 votes shy. Well, our guy has more. Great. The Oakland A's won the most games in a regular season, I think, once, and didn't win the World Series. I mean, that's not the rules. You don't know that? That's not the way any of this works. Terrorists. Now, why is Dan Crenshaw so angry, calling these people terrorists? And really disgusting. And I think I have to tell you, I'm not throwing this out there just to kind of stir the pot. I think Crenshaw, his career, at least with conservatives, is now done. People were hanging on a thread, a few of them, hoping that this guy was eventually going to come around. I think this is going to define his career from this point on, politically speaking. He'll be finished. There's no way you're going to get any kind of nationwide conservative support in anything from conservative primary voters, or even say he wants to run for Senate in Texas. I doubt it. It's possible, but it's going to require a major mea culpa. I'll get to why he's doing what he's doing in a second, but I want to play this video first because it also explains why some of these other guys seem so apt to go on the personal attack against these 20 conservatives out there who want a different choice other than McCarthy. Here's Crenshaw, Ryan Zinke from Montana, and Mike Lawler, newly elected congressman-elect from New York, again, with the just invective and throwing bombs when they have nothing to base it on. Oh, these guys are causing trouble, and they don't have the votes. You don't have the votes either. I'll explain what's going on in a second. Listen to this first.
They are enemies now. They have made it clear that they prefer a Democrat agenda than a Republican one. They are the true definition of rhinos.
I was sent here to get things done, not be advocate for chaos. And a lot of it is soundbite for fundraising. Let's just be clear and just call it what it is.
I'll be sticking with Kevin, whether it's the third ballot, the fifth ballot, the 50th ballot, or the 100th ballot.
Oh, there you go again with the invective and the nonsense. Everybody's so upset, making it personal, as if this isn't a bunch of conservatives advocating for conservatism.